So good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're still awake. I'm sure you're awake after Juliana's very exciting resume here. So my name is Monica Larsen, and I'm one of the gender advisors in the Swedish Armed Forces. Right now, my job is to be the gender advisor for the Nordic Battle Group. We're going to be on standby for the first 6 months of 2011. So wherever the EU decides to send us there, that's where we will be going. Before this assignment, I was the gender advisor for the U4 Shad RCA operation for 9 months. So some of the experiences are from that mission, but I'll share some others with you as well. Next one, please. Well, actually, the focus of my presentation is going to be how we have implemented gender in the Swedish Armed Forces. It all started with the National Action Plan some 5 or 6 years ago. The Swedish government gave us the task to work together with all the agencies in the national system to develop this together. And the task was divided into 8 different subgroups, and you can see them there. I'm not going to run through them. Some focused on recruitment. We've talked about that a lot here today, and I'm coming back to it at the end of my presentation. But two that I would like to mention specifically is the gender advisor or the gender field advisor. A concept that we developed in order to send gender advisors abroad. And the second one is the gender coach program. It's absolutely vital to have senior leadership on board for changes made into the system. The gender coach program was a program where our absolutely top brass, where the top leaders of the governmental agencies, and in our case, the generals, were given coaches, mentors on gender issues. And this program ran for about a year, where they were assigned a coach, someone they met once a month to discuss these issues. It started off by being one of these things that's just a burden for the generals, something that they do just because they have to. But at the end of the day, at the end of that year, the result was tremendous. They really managed to understand the concept. Those guys, the generals that I'm talking about, are today, for example, our Supreme Commander, the Chief of Defense. He had one of the mentors back in the days. This is some 3 years ago this program was running. And he understands absolutely the concept that we're talking about here today. Having his support and his closest people, their support, is tremendously important for us when we're developing this program. Next one, please. Well, we've also incorporated gender into the normal command structure. It is part of the strategic doctrines, the development plan, all the yearly directives that we send out to our units from the Armed Forces headquarters. It's a natural part of all pre-deployment training before going out into international missions. And I would even argue, if you look at it long term, it's even more important that it's integrated in the military school system. That means that our cadets, our lieutenants and our captains encounter this when they're in their normal, everyday line of business. They encounter that throughout the school system, which means that by the time they make majors, lieutenant colonels, and so forth, this is part of the way we do business. It's included in all planning products, and it's also incorporated in exercises. Actually, it should say now not just staff exercises. This is included in all exercises exercises that we do today, which means, once again, that our boys and girls see this as a natural way of doing business. There are violent acts against local population, so we teach them to see that men and women are affected differently, and that should be part of what they report back through the chain of command and so forth. Next one, please. There's been long discussions on where a gender advisor should be posted and where in the organization. I use this slide to argue that it's vitally important that working with gender, should not be hidden in just one branch. It's very important that the work with gender is directly connected to the commanding officer, the force commander, the Europe commander, whoever it is, because it's cutting through all the different branches. For those of you with military training, you understand what I'm getting in here, but I'm going to explain it anyway. In the military staff structure, one branch is personnel, a 2 branch is intelligence, a 3 branch is operations, and so forth and so on. I've managed to find tasks for each and every branch except for communication. And we're not talking about human communication here, we're talking about radio equipment and computers. If someone can come up with a gender perspective on computers, please let me know, because I would like to have something on that line too. It's very important that each and every branch, each and every unit see their job, see what their part is to play in this. And that's why it's important not to hide it in just one branch. This is cross-cutting throughout the whole spectrum of tasks. Next one, please. I'm just going to mention a few things. This is a goal. All relevant guiding documents should contain a part on gender. It should be in all the relevant documents. Another one that's important, and you're going to have these presentations so you can read through them. We've, together with our Norwegian colleagues, established MOT, Military Observer Team 1325. It actually started off with a project where we tried to have all female military observer teams. It was good, but it wasn't optimal. It's just as bad to create an all-female team as it is to have an all-male team. So a MOT 1325 should, in a perfect world, have 50% men and 50% women. Because by having that, these guys, they are out in local population. They are out in society, observing and liaising with local population. If we have the teams mixed from the beginning, that enhances our chances to reach the whole population. And the goal is that even from our side, the number of women in our missions shall increase, and I'm coming back to that in a bit. Next one, please. We've now had 14 gender advisors deployed in mission areas abroad. The first one was Charlotte Isaacson. I know that she's a bit of a well-known figure, that's why I mentioned her by name. She was the gender advisor to the U4 Congo back in 2006. And then I had the opportunity to go to Chad to do that mission, and divided that duty with another colleague who actually did the first 5 months, and I did the last 9. And then we have, since now 40 years back, gender advisors to the Swedish-Finnish PRT in Mazar-e Sharif in Afghanistan. and that's there to stay. We're always going to have a gender advisor when it comes to Swedish contingents. Next one, please.